See, the world is starting to wake up to all this bullshit. Now, y'all heard what that man said. They be beating this girl up after the whistle, bro. Beating her up, man. And all y'all want to do is tell us, we casual fans, we don't know basketball. This is a physical sport. Man, ain't no physical sport. It's hate and jealousy, bro. And they be beating that girl up, man. And the WNBA allow this shit, bro. But like he said, the world's biggest star. But let me guess, he buck dancing, he glazing, he tap dancing, he a coon.
Is the WNBA's brightest star quietly becoming its crash test dummy? Spend 5 electric minutes inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and the question answers itself.
I imagine that our success hosting the NBA All-Star Game, Kathy Engelbert, who's the commissioner of the WNBA, was here for that weekend, and the success of the Fever season all certainly played into that.
Fareed ain't gonna do it. Somebody got to do something, right? But let's head on over to X right now. Pull up this footage, man. Shout out to the homeboy, Mike.
Why is this happening? And I went back and I was thinking, the Caitlin Clark phenomenon is one that I got wrong. I never really thought that Caitlin Clark would make the difference that she has in college basketball or in the WNBA.
The lower bowl quakes under sold-out sneakers, television banners shout, record viewership, and then, thud. Caitlin Clark's ponytail kisses the paint while the whistle stays mute. That single collision captures a billion-dollar contradiction.
What do you think, again, in the second half, allowed you all to create some distance there, and what can you build on going into that cup final?
I thought we were physical on defense. I think that's where we lacked in the first half. I think the first half we had moments where we're up 10, we're up 8, we're up 12, and we continue to just let them back in the game. And I think, prior to maybe the second half where we finally got our foot on the gas, that's kind of where we have struggled all season long, is we continue to get these leads, these 8-point leads, these 6-point leads, these 10-point leads, and we just let teams back in the game, and with bad shots, turnovers, whatever it is. So I think it's just, we kind of got over the hump there, and then we're able to grow our lead in the fourth quarter. They even cut it to 10 in the fourth quarter, and I thought we really responded well, and we're able to open it up for a pretty comfortable win.
There are, the WNBA opening game for Caitlin Clark set all-time records. There are millions of people that never cared about the WNBA at all, that now care because Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA.
This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right, out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better. They got to be better.
The very moment that fattens the league's wallet also bruises its conscience. Fans tune in for her 30-foot lasers. They stay because they can't look away from the punishment that follows. Sponsors flood in, Twitter combusts, highlight packages loop, and still the person generating that hurricane keeps peeling herself off the floor as if pain is part of her contract. Tonight, we're unpacking how a rookie who revived an entire sport became the epicenter of elbows, envy, and an economic boom the WNBA isn't sure it can afford. Clark's Iowa reign didn't just rewrite NCAA ledgers, it detonated every TV metric executives track.
I can relate to that young lady. I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a black woman and hated because of my color. Yeah. I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despise. And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Mm-hmm. Confident.
And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative. And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't true.
Start finding these women, bruh. Finding them, suspending them, and make an example out of somebody, bruh. We ain't gonna tolerate this shit, homie. We not gonna be tolerating this shit right here. What's that guy's name that's getting ready to come to the NBA? The white dude? I can't think of his name right now. The rookie that's going to Dallas. I guarantee you, man, they is not gonna be letting that dude get treated like Caitlin Clark, bruh. And all the men in the WNBA ain't gonna be jealous and shit neither, bruh.
I'm just saying, I can understand why they're worked up because it just seems like there's always something. So there has to be a teammate that's going to come in and help out. And I feel like you can see the frustration and you can hear the frustration from Caitlin Clark as in the grand scheme of everything and most of the matchups they've had over the last month. It just feels like they constantly are being put in this position.
Her 41-point triple-double in the 24 regional final drew 12.3 million viewers, more than an NBA playoff airing the same night, and those eyeballs followed her straight to Indiana. The 2024 WNBA season averaged 1.19 million viewers on ESPN, a jaw-dropping 170% spike, while 7 of the 10 most-watched games in league history now feature Clark in a Fever jersey.
We weathered a storm. We found some toughness in the fourth quarter to be able to get stops and to execute, right? We grew tonight. I mean, it really, everybody just good stuff, okay? Good stuff all around. That's a big-time win for us on a back-to-back at the end of a tough road trip, so good stuff.
But with all that being said, you know, the WNBA referees has been having issues with getting these calls right when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the Fever, bruh. And I'm telling you, we have another case of that. And shout out to all the fans that, you know, put these TikToks together, put these videos together, kind of, you know, breaking down everything that has happened with the WNBA referees, because we have another game and we have another situation where WNBA referees failed to make the right calls against Caitlin Clark and the Fever. But then people want to get mad when Sophie Cunningham pretty much did what she did.
That's honestly been the topic of conversation for us, is making sure that we have a sense of urgency on the offensive end, on the defensive end. And once again, Leeds did slip away in this game and last game, but for us it's about making sure that we turn that page, we get back the lead, we keep it, we get big defensive stops. And you understand, and once again, it's a game of runs, and you just have to make sure that you have the best one at the end.
Resale tickets that once went for $35 cracked $250 before her home debut, and arenas that begged for 4-figure attendance suddenly hung standing room only signs. League merchandise sales jumped 200%. Expansion chatter spread from Oakland to Philadelphia, and executives started wondering where to stash all the newfound cash. For the first time in decades, the WNBA's biggest headache wasn't empty seats. It was how to squeeze more bodies into the building. But superstardom paints a target, and it didn't take long for someone to aim. June 1st, 2024, Chicago. Third quarter, score tight, tempers tighter. Skyguard, Chennedy Carter shadows Clark on an inbound and detonates a hip check that launches the rookie across the lane. The refs stare. The whistle takes a coffee break, and the internet loses its mind. By sunrise, the shove is upgraded to a flagrant 1, and Carter's name trends beside Goon Move. Clark shrugs. Part of the game, she says, but a blueprint is born. Rattle the phenom early, dare the officials to intervene, and harvest the clicks when they don't. Over the next month, her highlight reel turns into a hit parade. Forearm teasers at Barclays, shoulder checks in Dallas, a borderline clothesline in Phoenix. Each shot confirms the obvious. Physical play has crossed the line into open season, and Clark is the opening day duck. Fast forward to June 2025, and the soundtrack hasn't changed. The volume has. Connecticut's Marina Mabrey flattens Clark on a baseline cut. Referees label it common foul until a midnight review, sparked by 10 million TikTok loops, upgrades it the next morning. Fever head coach Christy Sides starts splicing greatest hits compilations of uncalled hacks and emailing them to league offices until something sticks. Meanwhile, creators sync Clark's landings to pro wrestling soundtracks. Every no call spawns 1,000 hot takes. Every bruise another binge-worthy clip. What began as a tough welcome to the league now looks suspiciously like institutional neglect. And the league's silence feeds the narrative like popcorn at a midnight premiere. Behind the curtain, jealousy simmers. Veterans who spent a decade grinding for 5-figure salaries now watch a rookie rake in 7-figure endorsement deals in primetime slots. The tipping point came when Nike unveiled a Black Mamba-inspired Clark Player Edition that sold out in under 60 seconds and flipped for triple retail on resale sites. Some peers bite their tongues. Others, caught on hot mics, mutter she hasn't earned it yet. Add the subtext of race, spotlight, and the yawning pay gap between Clark's endorsements and a league max contract, and the tension thickens faster than a steam room mirror. Debate shows ask whether the rough play is just basketball or coded resentment. Clark stays maddeningly calm. She praises defenders, says the league needs the edge, and then buries another 30-footer. Every time she refuses to clap back, the drama finds a louder proxy: tweets, podcasts, and players who treat the court like a grievance forum. Then came the Paris roster reveal. A 12-woman Team USA conspicuously missing the athlete moving more merchandise than the rest combined. Officials cited veteran chemistry, fans called it sabotage, and hashtags demanding her inclusion clocked 1 billion impressions in 48 hours. Reports later leaked that USA Basketball floated a consolation 3-on-3 invite, an offer Clark politely declined. Instead of dampening the hype, the snub sprayed gasoline on it. Cable networks built entire segments around the controversy. Late-night hosts joked about leaving Beyoncé off the tour, and Clark's social following ballooned by 1.4 million in a single week. Her response, "I'll be ready in 2028, turned rejection into rocket fuel and painted yet another bullseye on her back once WNBA play resumed. While Olympic medals clanged overseas, a different market signal rang louder at home. ESPN flexed its new golden goose by promoting Fever vs. Liberty into prime time. When Clark sat 3 games nursing a bruised shoulder, national ratings for WNBA windows without her cratered by 55%. Nike doubled down, shipping a second sneaker drop that vanished in an instant. Corporate America sees what the rulebook does not. Clark is a living stimulus package. Yet every unchecked shoulder threatens to sideline that cash flow. League brass issue vague statements about protecting all our athletes, but insiders whisper about a pending crackdown reminiscent of the NBA's post-90s hand-check ban. Less about purity, more about safeguarding the goose that keeps laying golden sponsorships. Ironically, some of the harshest hits come in Fever colors. Coach Sides preaches patience and whole team development, yet critics note a playbook that strands Clark 30 feet from the hoop, absorbing traps while teammates spectate from the corners. Timeout adjustments arrive late, off-ball screens rarely spring her free, and advanced metrics show Clark logging the league's second highest distance traveled per minute. Translation: she's running a marathon through landmines nightly.
Extracurricular activities, and you know what, during that it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting the star player of the WNBA, and so at the end of the day I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do, and I'm a team player, so it's all good.
Cameras catch her wincing after another blindside hit. The bench mostly claps politely. Commentators wonder aloud whether Indiana is accidentally or strategically testing its franchise meal ticket's durability. If rival squads jab her out of jealousy, the Fever's inertia feels like sabotage by neglect. Hashtag Protect Clark trends every time she hits the deck, and one analyst jokes the team's best screen is the one separating its star from medical staff. It's funny until it isn't, and fans know the punchline by heart. So where does the WNBA go from here? League governors convene in September to debate a new flagrant foul tier, heavier fines for off-ball contact, and an instant review trigger anytime a player hits the floor without a whistle. Player reps demand public referee scorecards. The officials' union balks at trial by Twitter. Quietly, endorsement lawyers slip injury contingencies into contracts in case Clark's bruises graduate to something far worse. Meanwhile, the rookie who became a ratings typhoon laces up, drains another logo 3, and
Just
smiles
6 months ago gives a
split
blueprint
lips,
for the plan.
turning
Our
every
goal,
collision into a highlight, and every doubt into leverage. The real question isn't whether she'll keep standing, it's whether the WNBA will stand with her. Protect the prodigy now, and the league could ride a decade-long surge that finally closes the pay gap. Let the elbows keep flying, and one day Clark may decide the spotlight travels just fine without the letters on her jersey. If that happens, don't act surprised. The warning signs have been lighting up the scoreboard all season. The next move belongs to the league, before its crash test dummy decides to climb out of the car for good.